Randall here, BragginRights Precision. Hope you are having a blessed and wonderful day as always. Today we're going to show you guys how to mount an Inline Fabrication flush mount plate for your quick change plate systems that they sell. Wonderful product. I believe that we have put Dan's kids through college with the amount we already own. Got more on order and got some sitting here we need to install. Going to show you the right tools to do the job. Going to show you how to mount them. We will not be routering ours out. We ordered the spacer plate so we can just point blank flush mount them. That's what suits our needs. So we're going to be placing this between two other flush mounts because placement is everything. The most important part of installing your equipment is making sure you got it exactly where you need it for your shop. So let's get on with it. All right, so the main tools that you're going to need is a drill or drill driver, a couple of bits. It's going to depend on what you need for your bolt system to bolt it down. Everybody's bench is a little bit different. I definitely suggest that you pre-drill your holes, especially on our bench. It's got oak top. Everything is very thick. Without pre-drilling, you take a really good chance of breaking bolts off trying to install them. So a little bit of masking tape for some measurements. Gonna need your measuring tape, obviously, ink pen, pretty much the majority of it. So I'm sure you're confused why I said that you need masking tape for measurements. Well, let's show you. Because you need to find the center of your mount. For us, it's easy because we're using the spacer plate. Otherwise, you would just do the same thing with the actual mount. But this little plate makes it real easy because it also acts as a stencil to get your bolt holes right. Very simple. Should be 8 inches across, which it is. Mounted enough of these, I know. Going to mark that at 4 inches. Easy peasy. So again, we're mounting ours between two other existing plates. So we need to measure the distance between them. We will still have plenty of room for whatever that we want to mount as far as equipment. So we have 36, just over 36 and a quarter. We basically need about 18 and 3/16. It should be pretty well centered. Dead on the money both directions. Perfect. Now we're going to take our plate, going to line up our two lines. Continue this around the front just a little bit. This will be hidden with the plate once it's mounted, so it won't matter that you made your mark. You can clamp this if you want to keep it straight. Draw out the circles for where you need to drill. Everybody's bench is going to be different on the requirements for the bolts. So for ours, we cannot get to the backside to put through bolts and put nuts on the bottom. We can on the front, so we're going to use two different types of bolts. We have a very thick, strong bench top. The top of this bench is solid oak that is glued and brad nailed over top of 3/4 inch OSB board. So for the rear, we have some really good, strong stainless steel self-tappers with the bevel. They all have to have the bevel because the top of the holes are beveled. And that way they countersink, and when you put your actual plates in, they fit over top of it and don't hit the heads. So on the front side, we're going to use through bolts. Again, chose decent, strong screws. For ours, since we're using the plate, we need to stack the two together. We need to measure how thick our bench is, just over 2.5 inches. The bolts we chose are 2 3/4. That's plenty of room to make it through our bench. You can also put a nut and a washer on the bottom. Very important to use that washer because you will pull these through. Okay, so now we need to drill some holes. We're going to do the two rear ones first. Reason being is because the two rear ones are the easiest to get this thing to stay still while we do the front ones. This is our screw, our bolt. So you need to choose your drill bit accordingly to pre-drill. Make sure that it's the same size basically as the shank of the screw, but you have plenty of threads to bite. Make sure you center the hole with your bit. The bits we use have a small self-centering bit on them there. And of course, make sure you drill straight. So there's the first set. You have to make sure that we get those centered in your hole so everything lines up pretty, which we did. And one thing I did forget to mention is doing this plate needs to be flush with the front of your bench. That's a very important step. Got ahead of myself. Now, change our bit. Let's go ahead and drill the front ones. That oak is hard, but that's why we used it. So everything should line up beautifully, which it does. Now we can remove the tape. Go ahead and line up our top plate. Make sure that your box is to the rear. Now, make sure that your Phillips bit is the correct one for the screw. This one's a little bit larger than your standard bit. Make sure it locks that screw good and tight, or you will strip the head trying to put this in. Put those in just partially till you line up the other two. Everything was drilled perfectly and straight, and everything reaches through just the way that it should. Go ahead and tighten the two rear ones down. Don't want to over tighten it. Then now we'll install the washers and the nuts on the bottom. that start the bottom nuts and washers. I personally like the Nylox lockers. Keeps them from coming loose. And the one thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning, I can't think of everything. Gonna need a wrench. For this application, 7/16. And you are installed. Install your plate with your equipment. Install the 2 wing nuts. Just finger tight. Nice and steady. Good to go. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed. Have a blessed day.